If you want to understand a man's value, don't look at his money, don't look at his status, and don't listen to how confident he sounds when things are easy. Listen to what he says when life pushes back. Because under pressure, men don't rise to their ideals. They fall back on their habits. The Stoics understood this clearly. Words are not harmless. They are patterns of thought spoken out loud. Low-value men don't fail because the world is unfair. They fail because their own words quietly train them to stay weak. And once a man accepts weakness in his language, his future is already decided. This isn't about insulting men, and it's not about feeling superior. Stoicism doesn't deal in emotions, it deals in patterns. The goal here is not to judge people, but to recognize language that quietly keeps men stuck. If you hear these phrases in yourself, consider it a warning. If you hear them in others, understand exactly who you're dealing with. Because the words a man repeats will eventually decide the level of life he lives. 1. That's just how I am. This is the sentence low-value men use to protect their weaknesses. They say it like it's honesty, but it's not honesty, it's surrender. When a man says, "That's just how I am," what he's really saying is, "I refuse to change. I refuse to be uncomfortable. I refuse to grow." Stoicism teaches the opposite. Character is not something you discover, it is something you discipline. Strong men understand this. They don't defend their flaws, they correct them. Low-value men freeze themselves in place, then blame the world for treating them accordingly. Because once you use personality as an excuse, you've chosen comfort over self-respect. And that choice always has a cost. 2. It's not my fault. This sentence is where responsibility dies. Low-value men use it to stay comfortable. Because the moment something isn't their fault, it's no longer their responsibility. They blame people, they blame timing, they blame circumstances. And every time they do, they give up a little more control over their own life. Stoicism is clear on this. Power begins the moment blame ends. Strong men understand something simple. Even when something isn't their fault, it is still their problem to handle. Low-value men don't want control. They want excuses. And excuses feel good, right up until life stops improving. Because the man who refuses ownership will always feel powerless. 3. I deserve more. This sentence reveals entitlement without discipline. Low-value men believe the world owes them something. More respect, more money, more recognition, but they say this without matching effort. They want the reward, not the responsibility that comes before it. Stoicism rejects this thinking completely. The world does not reward desire. It rewards discipline. Strong men don't ask what they deserve. They ask what they have earned. Low-value men count their wants. Strong men count their work. And here's the hard truth. The gap between what you think you deserve and what you've actually earned is exactly where resentment is born. Entitlement doesn't raise your value. It exposes the lack of it. 4. Everyone is against me. This sentence is comfort disguised as awareness. Low-value men use it to protect their ego. If everyone is the problem, then they never have to look inward. They turn resistance into conspiracy, feedback into hostility, consequences into persecution. Stoicism cuts through this illusion. Strong men don't ask, "Who's trying to stop me?" They ask, "What am I failing to master?" Low-value men need enemies to justify their stagnation. Strong men need standards to correct their direction. Believing the world is against you feels powerful for a moment, but it quietly guarantees one thing: nothing will change. Because paranoia replaces responsibility, and responsibility is where growth begins. 5. It doesn't matter. This is the most dangerous sentence of all, not because it sounds weak, but because it sounds calm. Low-value men use it to avoid effort, to justify inaction, to slowly step away from responsibility without admitting they've quit. This is not peace. This is apathy. Stoicism never teaches indifference to life. It teaches discipline toward it. Strong men care deeply about standards, about progress, about who they are becoming. Low-value men say it doesn't matter when things get hard because caring would demand action. And when nothing matters, nothing improves. That's not freedom, that's decay. Words are not harmless. They are habits of thought repeated until they become identity. Every phrase you allow to live in your mouth either sharpens you or weakens you. Low-value men speak to protect their ego. They explain, they excuse, they complain. Strong men speak with intention. They correct themselves before blaming the world. Stoicism is not about sounding calm. It is about living with standards even when no one is watching. You don't raise your value by demanding more. You raise it by tolerating less. Less excuses, less entitlement, less self-deception. Change the language you accept from yourself, and your life will begin to rise. Not loudly, not instantly, but permanently.